Hey America! The pandemic has got you on the brink of economic collapse. So, you know what that means. It's time to make that money printer go burn. Guyana, you're in the same mess too. Probably even worse. So you're going to do what you always do, which is copy America. But there's just one problem. You don't even print your own money.
Welcome back, culture fans. You're going to have to excuse any noise that you hear in the background because we are currently in the middle of constructing the greatest studio that any YouTuber has ever made, no, the world ever. So we are doing all of this. Why? Because we have you, the viewers' comfort, in mind. No, I'm just kidding. They're doing construction in the area and you know microphones are sensitive, so you're going to have to forgive us. Anyway, welcome back. Yes, just as you heard in that just now, despite establishing a national bank, even before we were even a nation, Guyana does not print its own money. Now, don't get me wrong. While the Bank of Guyana is the legal entity in the nation that is allowed to issue money and redeem banknotes, throughout its whole existence, it has never printed said banknotes. The Bank of Guyana commenced operations on October 16, 1965. So this is 7 months before independence. Now, subsequent legislation over the years clarified its roles and objectives, but the Bank of Guyana basically exists to oversee the amount of money in circulation, to act as a banker to the nation's commercial banks, and to make and receive payments on the behalf of the government, all of which should be done with the main objective of growing the economy. I mean, obviously, it's the central bank. So the bank commenced issuing the new national currency notes on November 15, 1965, while national coins were not issued until the mid-1967. So yes, even before we were a country, we had our own money. But again, we didn't print it. So if the Bank of Guyana does not print our money, then who does? Before I answer that question, smash that like button. It's right here. Just go ahead and do it. Don't worry, I'll wait. All right, so the answer is, you better have hit that like button because I'm gonna be upset if you didn't. So yes, the answer is whichever security printing company the bank chooses at the given time. That's who printed it. So here's a few of them. Don't ask me to pronounce the name of the third one. I genuinely don't. One of these companies actually recently lost a contract to print British passports because they had a set of employees running a counterfeit money ring inside of the company. Brownie points if you can tell me in the comments which one had the scamming employees. So your next question now is probably, well, if these companies do it, then why don't we print our own money since we're a country? And why is probably just because it's cheaper to pay someone else to do it for us. No, seriously. It takes money to make money, just like the saying says, so since it takes money to make money, clearly a money-making machine would cost a lot of money, obviously. So given Guyana's relatively small monetary supply, it was just cheaper to pay someone else to print $1 billion than to buy all the equipment and then only to use it like twice a decade. So your next question might be, is this a common practice? And actually, yes. While larger economies such as the United States, Great Britain, and even India print their own money, many small developing nations outsource this responsibility. So by now you might be wondering, well, if governments can just print money whenever they want, then why can't we just keep printing money until we get rich? Well, technically, nothing is really stopping a country from printing an unlimited amount of money, but it ultimately would not be a wise idea. Well, for many reasons, for one, inflation, but I can tell you the simplest answer is because of the exchange rate. The exchange rate determines the value of Guyanese money on the world market in comparison to various other national currencies. The Guyanese dollar actually ties its value in relation to the value of the US dollar. So this means that the exchange rate value of GYD, Guyanese dollar, fluctuates based on the nation's balance of payment to the world, its exports/imports, and the value of the US dollar in the international market. Keep in mind, this is just a general rule that has many exceptions. But just remember, typically, stronger currency, stronger economy. While having a company print your money may actually save you money in the long run, this arrangement can put a nation at risk for economic sabotage. In 2011, there was a currency shortage in Libya during the final days of Gaddafi. It was triggered by the British government's withholding of the importation of about 1.869 billion dinars after the United Nations slapped Gaddafi with economic sanctions to force him out of power. But you know what pushed him out of power was the whole civil war that NATO sponsored and all that stuff. But that's a conversation for another episode. So just know that, fortunately, such sanctions are uncommon. Unless if you are trying to encourage them like people were doing earlier this year. Also, as financial technology increases, such fears may, become completely irrelevant. In fact, 92% of all of the world's currency is actually digital, meaning that as a cash-based society, we are literally one of the few nations whose economy primarily relies on the exchange of physical banknotes for economic activity. So, who knows, maybe in the next decade, we might have a digital currency of our own. Would you like to see that? Tell us in the comments. So, thanks for watching this video to the end. If you learned something, just one thing today, give this video a like and tell us what you learned in the comments below. And also be sure to subscribe and share this video with other people so they can learn too, because that's what really gets us going. Is the likes help, but of course the subs and the shares. And so when you're done doing that, go and find our page on Facebook. There we continue the conversation about geopolitics, history, and personal finance through a Guyanese context. So check the description in the video for all our links on social media and the references, everything that I used for the video. And finally, if you're learning about your nation's currency, you're doing it for the culture.